cold as a razor blade.
Of the snake pit, but unfortunately this week we do not have the snake again. Jake went traveling out to Texas to be with some family this week and to really do the big celebration for his 70th birthday. So unfortunately he and I couldn't link up to do another episode. However, we are going to do something really fun this week. Instead of dipping back into the archives to give you guys a compilation episode, I thought it might be fun to introduce some of you. I know that there are a lot of crossover listeners, but some of you are unfamiliar with my podcast that I have with Jim Duggan, the Hacksaw Hour. Now, that is a YouTube exclusive podcast, which I know is why maybe some of my usual listeners don't get it, because you guys are just listening on your podcast app, and Jim's podcast doesn't exist there, only on YouTube. It's at youtube.com/@Golden Era Network is where we do that. And Jim's podcast is a blast. Jim is just absolutely electric. He's still just so full of energy and life. He's got great stories. And this time, we're actually going to be talking about one of Jim's last really significant angles from his first run in the WWF. So he wound up ending his run in 1993. And before he left, he had a pretty infamous run-in with Yokozuna for the Knockdown Challenge, which would end with Jim getting stretchered out. Well, Jim and I sat down about a year ago, something like that, and discussed all of the happenings surrounding that particular event. It was a really fun episode, and I thought it might make for a really good way to introduce some of these new listeners to what Jim and I are doing over there. So if you enjoy it, which I think you will, please go over to youtube.com/@Golden Era Network. Give us a follow. Jim and I are going to be releasing another episode this week. It's a Hacksaw mailbag where he answers fan questions. We just recorded that one, and it was a blast getting to talk to Jim. He's always so much fun. I hope that you guys enjoy it, and I hope that you'll join us next week right here on The Snake Pit.
Hacksaw 2x4, it is Hacksaw, tough guy. No one is the Hacksaw Hour. 2x4, it is Hacksaw, tough guy. No one is the Hacksaw Hour.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus D'Angelo, and we are back for another episode of the Hacksaw Hour. And of course, you guys know this fella right here. That is WWE Hall of Famer and legend right here on YouTube, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Jim, what's going on?
Well, Marcus, I want you to give me a woo.
A woo today.
Yeah, try. When you get up, you try a little woo.
Oh, man, I don't know if my voice gets
that high. It's like your pajamas are too tight, brother. You wake up, you give a big ho. You get
that
the
I can do.
Flowing, you get the hair standing up. You get ready to go, brother. Woo.
Well, brother, I am ready to go on this episode today, man. We are looking all the way back. I was checking the calendar. Last week, you and I had talked about the time that Yokozuna had crushed you legitimately in the ring. Here I was looking at the calendar, and that happened in February. So this right now is 31 years ago that happened. And
I wonder why I got that little ache going. The rainy day here, I got the ache going in the ribs.
That's right. The reminder.
I was like a human suppository, man. Big Yoko sat on me. I was like,
I'll tell you what, it's like I watch back the clip and he takes his hand off the ropes. It looks like most of his body weight was on you. I mean, just brutal. We'll watch it back here today. But yeah, I figure, 31 years later, let's do it. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. So we're going to tell the full story. We're going to actually break this one into 2 episodes. There were so many notes, Jim. So cool. This will be part 1 of it. Jim, before we get into 1993 and your feud with Yoko, let's talk about some of the stuff going on in the company during this period. First, something pretty wild that happened here at the end of 1992. I've got this from the January 4th, 1993 Observer. Phil Mushnick of the New York Post had a column mention on 12/28 about the Nailz incident. Here's some pro wrestling news you won't read, the Slammers column. The wrestling headliner known as Nailz, real name Kevin Waschultz, was fired by the WWF on December 14th. About the same time, he filed a report with the Green Bay Police stating he pushed WWF President Vince McMahon to the ground after McMahon tried to sexually assault him. Boy, a lot to discuss there, Jim. First of all, what were your impressions of Nailz during his time in the WWF?
Nailz was kind of a scary guy. I mean, he had those Billy Jack eyes, I mean, he was out there, way out there. He had a couple of, I think it was a bailsman, go out and track down people that broke their bail. He had 2 big, huge Rottweilers. He was a buddy of Boss Man's. I stayed in the car when we went over to visit him. But that's all right, brother. It'll be dog food over there, man. But yeah, but I was in Green Bay when that happened.
You
And
were?
yeah, I was in Green Bay when that happened. And Nailz actually grabbed Vince by the throat and took Vince to the floor and had Vince down on the floor. I was in the building. I was right there in the hallway. Sergeant Slaughter is the guy that pulled Nailz off of Vince. And that's why Sarge is always blessed in the WWE. I mean, he was the guy that physically pulled Nailz off of Vince. And
Wow.
that's when all that other stuff was going on. Nailz knew he was in the shit because he just attacked Vince. He went to a payphone, called the Green Bay PD, and said Vince just tried to sexually assault him. I mean, a huge move on Nailz' part. I mean, kind of a chess game going on there, premeditated. But yeah, Nailz had Vince Googled him by the throat, boom, down on the floor. Sarge was in the dressing room. A few guys were in the hallway right outside Vince's office, not in the dressing room, Vince's office,
Yeah.
production office. And yeah, Nailz went for him because he knew he was going out anyway. I think Nailz knew he was going to get canned. And so he was, I know there was other kind of lawsuits going on at that time too, wasn't there, brother?
Yeah, there was all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I believe that this is the era of the steroid trial, and man, it's the company is really in flux at this time. It's Hogan's kind of in and sort of out at this time, and they're getting ready to start WWE Raw. So I mean, like, man, there's just so much going on that he's dealing with, and then here's like another weird thing right on top of it, a sexual
Right
assault
on top.
charge.
It was, I mean, shoot, to talk about a great daytime series, a soap opera. There's so
Oh
much
man.
going. That's why I stayed away from that. There was so much shit going on backstage. I mean, I'm like, holy, can I keep up with it? I mean, of course, and there's a lot of politics too. Everybody's trying to, that's the old joke, Hogan stop quick, Beefcake break his neck. It had his nose. I mean, everybody was smoozing everybody, and yeah, I do. I went in, did my job, and got out of there.
Man, that's the right approach. And look, I don't want to let this go by without actually touching on something that you mentioned there. Billy Jack Hayes, in a holdout with police there, apparently seemed to have murdered his wife, allegedly. We don't know all the facts yet, but Jim, what can you tell us about being around Billy Jack?
Billy Jack was, like I said, like Nails. There's some guys in our business, their eyes are like this, I mean, and they're always like, not macho wound up, but they're always wound a little tight, and you always keep your eye on them. And I mean, Nails. Same I felt about Matt Bourne and Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. I mean, it's a rough business. And if you can't take care of yourself, you shouldn't be in, especially my generation. Now, a different generation. You couldn't, you get arrested if you assault somebody backstage, And even
Right.
the generation before that was wrestlers' court, Back in our day, it was like, can I talk to you in the shower, brother? A different deal.
And then when the fight ended, the situation ended. Like that was the end of it.
Usually,
Nobody
because there
pursued any
wasn't a
further.
whole lot of fights because, I mean, everybody knew, you're not going to go in there and beat somebody up, like these guys. I had 5 fights, I beat everybody's ass. Well, you never fought a man that knows how to fight. You
Right.
fight another man that knows how to fight. You don't walk away clean, okay, I came out okay.
No matter what, fighting, a dude who's whatever 6'4", 260, you're probably gonna walk away with an injury.
Oh yeah,
Um,
at the least, your hands are going to swell up where you can't open the door, you can't turn the doorknob. I
right.
heard. I don't know firsthand.
Well, no, of course. So, it's interesting because you're the son of a policeman, so I would guess that you'd see a guy like Nails or Billy Jack, and you probably recognize that kinda crazy, maybe a little bit off sort of look in their eyes where it's like, "Man, this guy maybe is not quite right."
Well, some people just did not. Of course, when my dad, he worked his way up from a patrolman to chief of police, 40 years in the police department. But when he was night captain, I was like 13, 14 years old. I'd ride around with him, and my dad would he'd be riding. He'd have a driver, and I'd be in the back seat. Anytime they hook somebody up, they throw him in the back seat with me. I go, yeah, because man, I'm like, holy shit.
Well, you were a
But,
pretty big kid. I'm
yeah.
sure you were intimidating them.
No, but then because I ride with the police. I grew up in a police family. I enjoy the coppers, so I had to quit riding with them. And when I was in Florida, because one officer would pick me up and we'd all meet in the parking lot. He goes, "We got a hacksaw with us," and we'd all meet in the parking lot. They're like, "Let's go get one." I'm like, "You don't have to get somebody in my account, fellas. What the hell?" And sure enough, they'd hook somebody up. They throw him in the backseat of the police car. He'd be back there, son of a bitch. Hacksaw Duggan? I'm a
That's
big
got to
fan
be
of
pretty
Hacksaw.
surreal.
Get me out of this. I said, "It don't work with me in the street, kid. It ain't going to work with you."
Oh, that's awesome. Well, look, as we start out 1993, you're going to be working with the Brooklyn Brawler and going over on the house show loop. Jim, Steve Lombardi was a mainstay in the WWF for a long while and would even go on to have an office role. What can you tell us about Steve?
I like Steve. I got along with Steve okay. He got a lot of heat because he was a friend of Pat Patterson and a lot of people, but he was able to stick around in a very tough business to stick around that long and come up with different characters that worked. I mean, the Brooklyn Brawler, I kind of enjoyed that. And it was, a good little spot. And he knew his spot and made his money and saved his money and did well in the business. So, yeah, I enjoyed working with the Brawler. It wasn't like we were working a we both were gimmick guys, so we could go out there and entertain the folks without hurting each other.
It's
Which
funny
was
because
important back in the day because you were doing, 20, 30, 40 days in a row. So you definitely didn't want to, get injured.
you needed somebody who's a good hand to be working with and somebody that you could trust in the ring. And like, look,
Yeah.
like a lot of people like to dunk on him and say like, oh, geez, he never really made it very far, not a big career. It's like, he worked for a really, really long time in this industry.
It's not a sport where you're trying to be the champion. That's not the
right.
idea of wrestling. Holy shit. It's a work. You don't have to be champion. You don't have to win all the time. Bruiser Brody told me he'll put anybody over at any time. 1, 2, 3, dead in the middle. Just let him get his stuff on after. Boom, get up, get your 2x4, chase the guy out of the ring, chase the referee out of the ring. Oh, just happen to have one here, brother. Come out and do what you do best, tough guy. Beat people up. Oh,
sorry, you got me wanting to get a 2x4.
I get going. I can't help it, man.
You got me pumped up. Well, no, you're right. It's like, look, success is measured in how long did you work, how much money did you make over the course of that career. Were you able to feed your family?
We're not. Yeah, everybody on the Dick Van Dyke show is not Dick Van Dyke.
Right. That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah, shit. I'm Ringo, baby. Go up there and sing, Hogan. And he's leading the band.
Yeah.
People look at it as at the wrong. That's not the way to look at our profession.
Well, at the start of 1993, we also get a
fired up there, didn't I, brother?
Yeah,
Holy shit!
You got me.
Hard to get that blood flowing, man. I tell you. No,
I'm not gonna
need.
So wait till he's done. But I'm not gonna need my afternoon coffee. I'm pumped up. All right.
Well, also, you don't go woo.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work for me.
I need that in the morning. Shit.
Also at the start of 93, we get a pretty interesting debut from a guy that you were very familiar with. Matt Bourne comes into the company under the gimmick of Doink the Clown, which is pretty huge departure from what we saw him doing previously. Jim, what were you thinking when you heard that Matt was coming to work in the WWF?
Well, we had our trouble in Mid-South after we had our trouble, we were still in Mid-South for quite a while together. So it's not like we had that trouble in Mid-South and I went to New York and all of a sudden he shows up later on. I had worked with him since Mid-South, so I figured everything was clear, So when he came in, I didn't really have that big of an opinion. I thought the gimmick was weird. But again, Matt was a professional, even though I don't like Matt and hard to say anything good about the man. But there's a guy that took the character and took it to the right level. As we used One Man Gang as an example with Akeem taking it to the different level where Terry Taylor, Red Rooster, he didn't embrace it. Where Bourne, who was a legit tough guy, second generation, piece of garbage, but he had embraced Doink the Clown and made it work and got the character over.
He did, especially when Doink was like a heel. He made it pretty engaging and
No,
entertaining.
yeah, the best gimmicks are the closest to your own personality, brother. You know, your best gimmick. I said I wasn't going to be handsome Jimmy Duggan. You know,
So being a
you
heel
gotta
was
be who you are, brother. And Matt Bourne, he was a natural heel. He was a natural piece of garbage.
heel in real life. Did you get a lot of interactions with him during this time, or just kind of stay
No,
away
he
from each
went
other?
his way. I wouldn't mind. Yeah. Yeah,
Probably
the
for the best.
guys, unlike Mid-South, the guys didn't, and obviously WWF, they didn't hang together like we did in Mid-South. Mid-South, we do Shreveport, we all stay at the La Bossier Hotel or the Alamo Plaza. We do New Orleans, we'd be at the Marriott Airport. The guys would all stay together because we'd find a hotel that would give the best rate, and it would pass around the boys, so the boys would all stay at the hotel. But I'll tell you a quick story. We got the Hilton in New Orleans, and we're getting a great rate, right? And the Nasty Boys come in for one show or two, and they get the big rib. They say, "Oh, we took a dump in the elevator. Oh, we took a big dump in the elevator." You know, shit. We go to check in the next week. Our rate's up $200. You know, I mean, Nasty Boys. You know,
Who's the rib really on?
right,
Ended up being everybody.
Yeah, they got us, and they left. Right, we lose the Hilton.
Nice.
But it was fun because the fans all knew where we stayed. I mean, it was a fun time in the business. The guys were much closer because you all travel together, you all party together, you all do drugs and the same women together.
I believe that. All right, guys, we have got to hit the timeout button so that we can talk about a sponsor that I know all of the men listening to this podcast love. Of course, I am talking about Blue Chew. Man, let me tell you, Blue Chew is not just a tablet. This is a straight up cheat code for your crotch. You want to get stronger, harder, longer lasting erections, brother, this is it. It's like somebody gave your wiener a pep talk down there because your guy is ready to go. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. So look, don't lie about it. We've all been there, guys. You're ready to go. Your partner's ready to go. You look down and your little pal there is just staring at the carpet. Like, what are you doing, man? Come on, dude. Give me a break. Get up here. Let's go. We got work to do. And it won't listen. We've all been there. Well, Blue Chew is the solution. We're going to get that thing so hard you could go hunting with it. You are going to love Blue Chew just like I do. And let me say, your partner is going to love it too. This isn't just about performance. This is about a legacy, or third legacy, if you will. Give her group chat something to talk about, man. We all know that those girls are in their group chats and everything that happens is being discussed, whether you like it or not. Why don't you give them something good to talk about? Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little bit of Blue Chew. Discover your options at bluechew.com. And look, we've got a special deal for our listeners. We're giving out boners for free, man. As always, you can get your first month of Blue Chew free when you use our promo code SNAKE. That's SNAKE, SNAKE. Pretty appropriate for Blue Chew, if you ask me. All you got to do is use that promo code at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Free boners sent straight to your house. I mean, come on, man. You got to at least give this thing a try. It's free. If you haven't tried it, you have no idea what you're missing out on. This could seriously be the best sex you have ever had in your entire life, and you're just letting it breeze right past you. Why? Because you don't want to pay the $5 shipping? Give me a break. Come on, give this a shot. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Let them know that we sent you. Head over to bluechew.com for details and safety information. Whenever you check out, make sure that you use our promo code SNAKE, and that's it, just $5 shipping. And before we go, of course, I want to give a big thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring the Snake Pit. Well, look, another guy coming into the company at this time is Lex Luger, and he's coming in during the Royal Rumble as the Narcissist. He had a pretty infamous run-in with one of your mentors, Bruiser Brody, a handful of years prior to this. What did you think of Lex? Did you know about their run-in?
I didn't get along with Lex, but I didn't know about the run-in.
He was in a cage match with Bruiser Brody, and I think that Lex had kind of come to Brody before the match and said, like, hey, so I'd like to do this, this, and this, and I guess Brody was offended by it. They get out into the ring, and Brody just stands in the middle of the ring and won't do anything. He won't sell for him. He won't say anything. He just is standing there. And finally, Lex, who's intimidated by Brody, just climbs out of the ring and leaves. So I guess he asked him later, and Brody just like no sold it. He was like, no, I'm fine. Just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I believe that 100%. And a good move by Lex, because I could see why Brody wouldn't like Lex. You know, Lex, like I said, the best gimmicks are the ones closest to who you are. and, the gimmick worked well for Lex.
Would you say that he was really full of himself during this time?
Pretty
He's a
much,
different
yeah,
man now.
pretty much back then. You know,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what, though, I worked with Brody before. We were in a show, a big house, and he wasn't happy with the front office, and he sat in the headlock. I got him in a headlock, and we sat there for 10 minutes, just sitting there. The crowd was booing, and I just became Hacksaw. I'm a young kid, and I'm like, geez, News, what are we doing? He goes, I'm teaching you how to work with the office, kid. He said, they made him go to the ring, but they can't make you work.
Well, Vince was known to be a guy who was fixated on the bodybuilder type physiques. Did you think at the time that Lex was likely to get a main event push, or did you think he was too green?
Well, when they brought Lex in, that's when they brought the helicopter, right?
Well, so that's going to come later on the same year. It'll be like around July or something. That's when
Okay.
they'll change into like USA Lex Luger.
Yeah, that's what that was a writing on the wall for old Hacksaw to hit the road.
Another guy with a flag, yeah.
The flag and the helicopter and the Lex Express, and I got my flag taped to the flagpole. They might have invested a little more into his gimmick. So, yeah, I knew it was time to go. But, yeah, I could see the guy, he worked well down at WCW. People liked him. He had a good body. The character worked well. He was a good heel. I don't think he'd be a good baby face.
Yeah, they tried it. Didn't quite work out.
No, you can't. And that's, you just can't give somebody the flag, brother.
Right.
It's been my honor to carry the flag. When I'm out there waving the flag and saying USA, it's coming from the heart, man. It's my biggest disappointment in the business. I was just talking to my wife because, Toby Keith just went down.
Yes.
And Toby was a big Hacksaw fan. He grew up in Oklahoma, so he used to come to the show. My family, we've been to his shows and stuff. And we were watching his USA video, get teary-eyed watching it. But my biggest regret was I didn't get to go over to Iraq. They had me on the show to go over to Camp Victory in downtown Baghdad, which Vince doesn't get a lot of credit for. He took the whole show during the middle of the Iraqi war right to downtown Baghdad. I had to do a combat landing. And I was all set to go. I had my bags all packed, and Johnny Ace called me the day before. He's like, sorry, Duggan, we're bumping you and we're sticking a diva in your spot.
Oh.
I
mean, how pumped up with the troops of...
I can understand it, but I still, throw some bags off. Let me sit in the back. I just wanted to go, I can understand all the young guys over in Iraq. You want to see old Hacksaw? or a hot young diva? They'd be throwing rocks at me.
I don't know. You coming over there with the flag and chanting USA, yeah. I feel like it would get the crowd pumped up.
Yeah, I do a lot with the military, but that's one thing I missed. A lot of guys had the opportunity to go over, and I don't think a lot of guys realize what a special opportunity that was.
Well, Jim, the wrestling world is also going to get some really sad news here in '93. One of the biggest attractions of all time, and a man I know that you would become friends with, Andre the Giant, would pass away on January 27th, 1993. We know that Andre had really been struggling in his later years. Were you surprised to learn of his passing at the time?
Not really surprised, no. As my doctor told me, you don't see a lot of old heavy guys. That's why I dropped a bunch of weight. Guys that big and partied that hard, but he was relatively very young man. What is he, 40s, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was still relatively young, but boy, he put on some hard miles.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a lot of man to be carrying around on his heart. That heart had to be pumping hard.
Yep.
So yeah, it didn't surprise me, and I didn't go to his funeral either. Right? I haven't been to any of the boys' funerals. It's like a photo shoot for a lot of guys. And make sure we get to the funeral and take some pictures and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, even my friends Doc, Piper, and Gordy, I didn't go.
They're for everybody, and I certainly don't blame you. A quick aside though, Jim, after we posted that video here on our YouTube channel of you showing some of your great wrestling memorabilia, a lot of folks were asking where you came to own that original ring worn singlet from Andre. How did that come into your possession?
Hey, A family friend gave it to me, presented it to me. He's actually, I'm going to do a video. We're heading up to Warwick, Warwick, Rhode Island this weekend with Dennis Rodman. And I know Rodman. It'd be good to see Rodman again. I got along with Rodman okay.
Oh,
But
awesome.
anyway, the guy up in Boston, he has the biggest collection. You've seen him on WWE's where they hunt stuff down.
Lost Treasures or whatever,
Yeah,
Hidden
Lost
Treasures.
Treasures. He's been on that show. He's got unbelievable Macho Man stuff. So I asked him when I get up there this time if we can do a walk through his house. He's got the unbelievable collection of wrestling memorabilia, and we became friends. And I gave him my the boots I was wearing when I won the first ever Royal Rumble.
Nice.
And he presented me the. I mean, that's like here and here. But I got the Andre's ring worn gear. And when we have more time, I tell you the story about that singlet strap. That's there's a whole story about that where he chokes me with it.
Oh man, yes,
we will. It takes up some time though.
We will definitely talk about your rivalry with Andre. So Jim, let's get to the news surrounding you at this time. Meltzer would report this in the Observer at the end of 1992. I believe Jim Duggan gave his notice this past week as well, but may be staying through the end of January. Duggan's leaving probably has to do with infrequent bookings, and when you're getting paid by the show, if you aren't working close to a full schedule, you aren't going to be making a lot. Jim, any truth to this rumor? Did you give your notice in late 92?
No.
Nope, so
I didn't give him my notice.
Unfounded dirt sheet stuff.
Would you say fired my ass, brother? Yeah, I like the sugarcoat it. It's like, yeah, Vince called me, brought me up. I mean, I called them to go up there, and when the writing was on the wall, they called me and said thanks, but adios amigos. Yeah, I didn't give a notice back then, and so they canned me. Yeah, it was pretty shocking. It wasn't as I was an adult man. I knew what was going on. When I was a kid, when I got cut from football, that was a terrifying ordeal, because that's all I knew. But wrestling, they fired me. I knew I'd go on and wrestle, but the writing was on the wall with Lex coming in, and I put Bam Bam over at a big pay-per-view. I can't remember what it was.
King of the Ring, I think.
Might have been. But whatever it was, I put Bam Bam 1, 2, 3 in the middle. So I'm like, time this goes full circle. I mean, and that's the business. You start off in small high school gyms and National Guard armories, and you work your way up to Madison Square Garden and the big arenas, and then you work your way down. And the old timers, you finish up in high school gyms and the National Guard armories. It's the cycle of wrestling.
That's it too.
But
and I mean,
I know brother, because I haven't done as many indies lately as I used to do, but I go to the indies and the boys are the boys, no matter what generation or what country. You're over in Europe, the boys are the boys. I was at the show there I enjoy being around wrestlers.
A while back, it became kind of an internet argument, and actually some wrestlers were chiming in on it, where they were saying, like, somebody said, when a veteran wrestler goes to an indie show and the young guys come up to him and want to get a picture, it's very unprofessional. Like, that's what they were saying is like, nobody would do that back in the day. But then Sean Waltman actually chimed in, and he was like, I love it when guys ask me to take pictures.
Yeah. I asked the guys, anybody want to get pictures? Come on up, fellas. Because I know a lot of them, I guess that must be the new attitude. But back you walk in the building, everybody is in the ring going over spots. Get out of the ring, come over, shake your hand, say hello. Very respectful of the indie guys. At least the shows that I've been to, the kids have been great, and they're all out. And that's why I tell them, if you've never been to an indie show, check one out, man. They're great. The kids are busting their ass to get the break, working hard. You sit closer to the ring, you get to meet the guys. It costs less money. I think indie shows are fun, and they bring in an old timer in every once in a while.
Definitely worthwhile. If you haven't gone to your local indie show, go out of your way, because I can attest to it. They are a blast. Yeah. Jim, did you ever ask an old timer for like an autograph or a picture back in the day? That just was not the thing, right?
No, not yeah. It was different back in the day. Yeah. It was a carnival atmosphere. It was a second generation deal. I mean, it was a much more tough atmosphere. My sister always thought it was mafiosa. She saw Vince Sr. was in the mafia. And then one time I went into his office, I was kind of wondering, man, him and Arnie Skoll are sitting there smoking big cigars, there's plastic on the floor. I'm like, what the hell?
So, geez, walked into the wrong room. We know that Meltzer's, comments here were unfounded because you'd be with the company for another year before you'd leave. But, would you say that you were getting frustrated with the company and, this transition to the kind of the new generation of guys?
No, I could see it's kind of pretty much run its course.
Okay.
That's the deal. You stay with the company, and sooner or later, there's a flushing sound. That's the big leagues, caps and sleeves at this level. I mean, that's why I can't understand the kids come back. Look at this. I had a great match. I'm bruised and cut.
You're not supposed to do that, kid.
MMA's the next building down, brother.
It's supposed to look like it hurts and not hurt.
So I guess that Royal Rumble, they beat the hell out of each other. Everybody came out hurt.
Yes. Which again, I'm like you, where it's like I watch it, I'm like, why are these guys like actually hitting each other and stuff? Like, aren't you supposed to not do that? So I don't know. That's
I was on a cruise.
Yeah, I'd rather be watching it than doing it.
Yeah.
So
comfortable.
So look, I know that you would move on to WCW in 1994, but at this time, were you starting to weigh your options elsewhere as you felt your time in the WWF starting to wind down a little bit?
Well, I was going to ride that horse to the end, brother. As Macho Man, advice Macho gave me, never take yourself out of the game. And I took that to heart, and I was they're stomping on my fingers. I'm like, no, I'm still here. Oh!
So you don't think you would have ever left the WWF had you not been dismissed the following year?
I would have stayed as long as possible, unless they started abusing me, obviously.
Right.
They started jobbing me out all the time, and just really abusing me. But I ran its course, and it was a great run, and obviously that was to this day is the golden age, the WWF. Because by then a lot of guys were starting to move on. It was a new group coming in, and so I think I went down. And I did the Indies for a while until I got the call. I get along with Hulkster. Hulkster and Jimmy Hart gave me the call to come over to WCW, and I believe I was on Hogan's first interview. I was standing behind him at WCW.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah.
Now, it's clearly Vince still has a lot of faith in you because during this time, a young guy who's coming into the company, Yokozuna, is introduced, and you're immediately programmed with him, presumably to get him ready for Hogan, or at least that's how it would appear on the surface. I mean, how did you feel about the arrangement? Did you, it's I've always heard Jake say that's a good spot, getting guys ready for the main event.
Great spot. And it's the old term in professional boxing. It's Hogan's policeman. I beat everybody, but the guys who beat me would go to Hogan.
Yes.
And it's a great spot to be at. Back there playing the drums, brother. The guy beat me, he moved up to Hulkster, and it was a good spot. And me and Yoko, I got along good with a big guy, and we had good matches together. Just that little gimmick in Fuji. I loved Fuji. Me and Fuji were tight, and so we had a lot of fun. But just knocking him off the feet, we got a huge pop. He was like a weeble wobble, but he wouldn't fall down. He'd and I'd be like, "Oh, is he going to go? Is he going to go?" And then, "Is he going to go?" And finally, he went, "Shit, the place popped, man." And then I beat the hell out of me. Holy crap! That's all I remember, Doctor. Things were going good for a while.
Okay, guys, time to take a quick break from the action to talk about our new sponsor, MyBookie. I'm so excited about these guys. I know that you folks will be excited about the deal that we're going to be able to get for you here with them, because MyBookie offers you the opportunity to bet on professional wrestling. I mean, we all know how fun it is to place bets during football season, baseball season, basketball, whatever sport you're into. It's fun, and it makes it more exciting. Like all of a sudden, you're interested in games that you would not have otherwise been interested in. Well, MyBookie is providing you that with professional wrestling. It doesn't matter if you're necessarily into the particular wrestler or into the match or into the angle or whatever's going on. You can get into it by placing bets at MyBookie. And this weekend is a great opportunity for it. You know, WWE is running it back here this weekend. It's Saturday night's main event and Evolution, and MyBookie has got odds on every single match. So, I mean, look, the big one, as we all know, it's Goldberg and Gunther. And it's Goldberg's last match. Does he go over? Does Gunther get the win? Well, guess what? You get to place bets on it. How about Rollins versus LA Knight? You know, the crowd loves LA Knight. I think that that's become really obvious, but he's still a plus 350 underdog with Seth Rollins being set to be the main guy there in the WWE. Or how about TNA's Jordynne Grace? She's taking on JC Jane for the NXT title. I mean, Jordan is on the rise, but JC Jane is kind of the chosen one there in NXT. Who's going to win that one? And you know what? It's not just about betting on winners at MyBookie. You can also bet on stuff like entrances, turns, shocking wins. And if you understand wrestling as well as you think you do, you can get paid as a result of it. It's time, guys. You need to go and sign up and use our code SNAKE. We'll back you on your first deposit. $100 gets you an extra $50. $200 is going to get you an extra $100. We're talking about free money here, folks. What you do with it is up to you. Don't miss out on your opportunity with MyBookie, and don't miss these 2 shows this weekend. It's one weekend, 2 shows. This is a huge weekend in professional wrestling, and not only can you enjoy the action, you can make some money. Bet smart. Cash in only at MyBookie. We have the clip of you two, and we're going to be watching it. But I was wondering, like, did this happen multiple times with the Knockdown Challenge, like in front of different crowds, like house shows?
I think that was a one-time deal on television. Yeah, that was a one-time deal with me and Yoko. The other shows, he could beat the hell out of me.
Oh, I got you guys would just have a match and he'd beat you.
We'd have a match, and I put him over. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
You know, and then they use phones like Andre. You watch on YouTube there. Andre, I did a job for Andre. And Andre put his feet on the ropes.
that helps you.
Unreal. Yeah. What a favor, you know, that Andre the Giant would have to put his feet on the ropes to beat me.
That's awesome.
But Fuji would also be very instrumental in beating me with Yoko. But I got along with everybody, right? So, yeah, Fuji would be choking me or tripping me or flipping me a Placidil or something, you know.
Boy, what an advantage.
Did that one time. We were at some small show like Green Bay or La Crosse, Wisconsin. Fuji's got me choking me from outside the ring. Yoko takes the referee. All of a sudden, it's a Placidil, Duggan.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Let's go home now. 1, 2, 3. Get out of the ring.
How long does it take for one of those things to kick in?
Oh, well, not real long, especially when you got it crushed in your mouth and it tastes horrible. Oh my God, it's like somebody took a dump in your mouth. And all I could think they'd be tearing down the ring, I'd still be laying there. We got all the chairs going. What do you want to do with Duggan?
Leave him. Well, Yoko and Fuji had been saying that the big man could not be taken off his feet, and you rose to the occasion and challenged him. This is going to be our only clip this week, and it's what aired on February 6, 1993. He squared off against Yokozuna with the hope of knocking him off his feet. Let's have a look.
That's a full Gertrude. This is all pretty much a shoot, too, brother.
A shoot? As far as how hard you hit
him? I'm teeing off on him, and I'm getting popped. Boom. And we're sliding pretty hard right there.
He's selling it great, too. He looks really concerned.
A good football stance, level back. That's nice to see. Diabolical Fuji. Boom! What an honor to be out there.
What a reaction from that crowd. Incredible.
What the?
Oh boy. Turn around,
That's
Jim.
the way to milk it. There's a professional right there, milking it, milking it, milking it.
And the crowd's trying to tell you.
What? Where? That's a pro saying, what?
I'm turning it down a little bit while I kind of talk over it. Jim, how do you protect yourself when somebody throws powder or salt in your eyes?
Close your eyes.
That's the only way, right? You just gotta close them.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, it was a bucket of cocaine.
Oh no, you're about to Hulk up then.
Yeah, don't even joke about that, right? No. Ooh.
Powerful, man.
Does that stuff hurt?
Well, they say that those rings were really stiff back in those days, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everything. Yeah. People, does that hurt? I'm like, you think?
Oh, here we go.
Wow. The crowd's into it.
You can tell they're
Get your
bummed
arms
out.
flat. You don't want to have your arms over your head. Get your arms to your side. You notice that.
Why not over your head?
Well, you're way too vulnerable. Get something broke. Get them down here like this.
Oh, okay.
Of course, you can protect yourself more, you know. I thought they had the flag over me. Ooh.
Now, I know that he would break some ribs or crack some ribs here.
Cracked a couple of ribs, Big Yoko.
Now,
the first one, too. He got me on the first one.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was hard to stay there for the second one.
I'll bet. And now look at him. He's not, it's all of his body weight on you.
Yeah. And Yoko's a big man, God bless him.
Oh, look at that poor kid.
Beautiful.
Broken.
Man. Wow, what a great angle.
Look at these kids.
What is going on here? Is there no control? Is there no dignity whatsoever? Jim Duggan is unconscious. Fuji laying the American flag over a great American. Symbolic.
Now that was hard. You can't see nothing, right?
Yep.
So you know he's coming, but you don't know when. Listen to the crowd, you know it's coming.
You got to be wincing under that thing.
Wincing, that's a nice term for it. Wow, right. That was great, man. Holy smokes. They don't. TV's different show nowadays. Still popular, but you can see why that was the golden age. I mean, and talk about a guy being over. They have the whole crowd on their feet screaming when they knock Yoko goes down. What a heel. He was over that strong. He didn't have to get beat. He just got knocked over and the place went crazy. I mean, a strong, very strong heel, Yoko.
Man, it was awesome. And like, seriously, this is something that I see brought up all the time. Oh yeah. Is that the first time you've seen it?
That stuff, you know, it's good to see.
Is that the first time you've seen it in whatever?
Been a
31
while.
Years?
Probably been a while. Yeah.
That's really cool. But yeah, no, I mean, gosh, what a reaction from that crowd. And this is something that people talk about still all the time. I see them bring it up constantly about how heartbroken they were. I've seen where some people say that they cried whenever this
Yeah,
happened.
I
But
hear that too. Yeah.
man, really cool that you got to be part of such, some really iconic moments in WWF history like this.
It's amazing that just that group of guys, that generation of people just remember that era. That's why it's so humbling to go on these Comic Cons and sports signings and have people line up to get your autograph and spend their hard-earned money. I mean, that's why I got to have a little few words with them. They're like, "Move the line along, Duggan." I'm like, "Yeah, wait a minute, hey, brother."
Yeah, this guy's been waiting, whatever, 30 years
Yeah,
in some
right.
cases
Yeah,
to meet
spend
you.
their hard-earned money, And then you sit next to some guy who I was next to Tyrus one time. He had a headset on.
Really?
My brother, and just signing.
Come on,
Uh,
man.
and it's all relative. People say, "Oh, Hacksaw." People are really excited to see you. They pie face me if Hogan's sitting behind me. It's Hacksaw Duggan. There's Hulk Hogan. You got to know where you are on the totem pole.
Well, coming out of this, Jim, you get injured as you mentioned. How long are you laid up? I know that they turn it into an angle and shoot some vignettes with you and Deborah, which we'll cover next time. But how long were you
Yeah.
down?
Excuse me. Pardon?
How long were you down though with this injury?
Just a couple of weeks. Yeah, not long. Because back then, if you didn't work, you didn't get paid. So you could wrestle, work tags or whatever, just work the apron. And stay away from the ribs, whatever. But cracked ribs you can't do much for anyway.
Is
You wear a
Rodney?
little. They give you, like, especially back then, they wrap you in an ace bandage. There you go. That'll help.
Yeah, you're fine now. So is Rodney like protecting you whenever he drops the bonsai drop like here on like going light, or do you
Well, he
remember?
knows too. Now, this is obviously a big angle. It's on television. We got a chance to shine. If you're going to miss this way instead of that way.
Yes.
So yeah, you want to be live out there, and he was live, and of course I hope my stuff was too, because that was a big moment, and we realized that.
It's cool that you had like the foresight to know, okay, this is really over. We've really got to sell it and make the most out of it. And you guys did,
Well,
it's
yeah.
something.
Plus, they didn't, I didn't do a whole, they didn't give me a whole lot, and I thought that even though I was getting crushed, there's an example. Do your best job at getting beat you can possibly do. You don't have to win the match to get over. And there's an example where Yoko beat the hell out of me, but I was able to get that sympathy, which is really, really, especially for a big guy, especially back then. I was 280. Now I'm 220, but 280. That's why it was easier always to wrestle a bigger guy to get sympathy from. If you're wrestling Shawn Michaels, they're like, "Well, hit him back, Hacksaw." You're wrestling Yokozuna. He's killing him. He's killing him.
Do you think it's tough for a guy like the Big Show or Andre to become baby faces because of that? Because like who reasonably would they sell for?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, but wrestling's wrestling, and they had Ray wrestle the Big Show.
Yeah,
and it's a suspension of disbelief.
that's it. We're almost done, Jim. Couple more, and I'll let you go.
Thank
Reportedly,
God.
oh, you love getting to spend time with me.
Have a good time with Mark.
I love it too, man.
I saw your
Reportedly,
show with Ted. I got to give Ted the shot.
I'll show him this. He'll love it.
Yeah.
Reportedly, a station in Los Angeles refused to air this moment because of heavy protests from the Association of Asian Pacific American Artists. A spokesperson from the station said that they were not in the business of perpetuating stereotypes. Jim, did you ever hear any of this?
No, but I wish I did. That means it's really got over, man.
Right?
Holy smokes. Especially before social media.
Yep.
Imagine now. But wrestling was very stereotypical. Junkyard Dog, Kamala, Hacksaw Duggan. I mean, Ivan Putski, Nikolai Volkov, the Iron Sheik. That's just the way it was back then. Now, of course, the whole show get canceled.
Right.
But back then, that was just Polish power. Ivan Putski, Tito. I mean, that's just the way it was.
it had been a standard in wrestling for years, so it kind of feels like they're being very choosy on when they want to be offended by it, you know. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah,
But that
no,
was
it's.
good. It got over that well that they got hot about it. Holy smokes, yeah.
I was gonna say any headlines for wrestling are good headlines.
Right.
I
Well,
think
unless
so.
you're riding with a sheik, you don't want that headline, bro.
Right? Yeah, I guess there's some that maybe aren't so
I
great.
could have done without that one.
Well, guys, that is actually going to wrap us up this time. Like I said, we are going to cover the rest of it on part 2, and we're going to look at your rivalry with Yoko, your return, these awesome vignettes of you back in Glens Falls healing up, and then, you know, of course, Deborah does a great promo on there too.
Did a hell of
So,
a promo.
yeah, she does an awesome job. It worked really well and got all this great sympathy, and people were ready for you to come back. And when you did come back, I believe that's when you came back with the singlet on.
Oh, is
So
it? I don't remember, brother. Yeah.
I think so. So it was kind of some big changes for you, and we'll talk about it all here in the coming months. But in the meantime, guys, Valentine's Day as you're listening to this, it will have come and gone. However, if you still want to get somebody a last minute Valentine's Day gift, or if there's like an anniversary or a birthday, or if you just want to hook somebody up with something cool, get over to hacksawjimdugganshop.com. Brother, they have got some awesome stuff over there. Some 8x10s, but really the main event, as far as I know, is that 2x4, right, Jim?
2x4s with 1 foot, 2x4s, they go well. You know, actually, when we travel to Comic-Cons, we have a suitcase full of 2x4s. about 30 2x4s will fit in the suitcase. It'll be under the weight limit for the airlines, you know. So I'm waiting for somebody to steal that one day and get home and open it up. What do I got? What?
Somebody's gonna be pretty bummed out.
1 foot 2x4s. What the hell?
But yeah, look, if you can't make it out to a show to see Jim, then go to hacksawjimdugganshop.com. He signs those, he'll personalize them, and they'll be shipped straight to you. Also, another gift, if you can't get out to see Jim, is how about Cameo? Cameo.com/hacksawjimduggan. Jim will cut a promo on you. He'll give you a nice birthday message. How about a roast? I mean, there's so many options on that thing.
We do a lot of fantasy football stuff, guys.
Really?
Congratulate them or give them the business about losing.
Oh, see, now that's nice.
Probably 60-40 giving the guy the business about losing on the fantasy football.
Well, hey, look, here's another pro
tip.
I
can give him the business, Marcus. I can give him the business.
If anybody can, it's Hacksaw. And look, you know,
yell.
If you're looking for a pick too, I bet Jim could make some college picks for you, right?
Oh yeah. Depends what kind of pictures you're looking for, Marcus. No Polaroids.
Actually, I meant like football picks, but we could do that too. Sure.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, in any case, it's always a blast getting to catch up with you, Jim. We will be back here in 2 weeks doing another mailbag, so make sure that you guys get your questions in here in the comments, and we'll look forward to doing another episode of the Hacksaw Hour.
All right, Marcus, give me a hole, brother.
Here we go.
Oh! Thanks, everybody. See you, brother.
See you guys next time.